Hi everyone, Sherry here for Crafting Desert Divas, and this week is all about shaker cards. So I'm going to walk you through the process of creating a very quick and simple shaker card. You can make them as complicated as you like. You can add stamped images to them. Their possibilities are endless. I decided to use 3 colors of Distress Oxide inks, fossilized amber, ripe persimmon, and spiced marmalade, and cover a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock. And the colors I chose came from the actual sequins that I decided to put in the shaker card, and the name of those sequins is Pumpkin Spice. So as you can see, I watered down the distress inks after I put them down on my craft sheet, and then I just kept blotting my my piece of paper into the ink, and I also lifted some of the ink from the paper, and then I'm going to come back in again and spray with some water, and I'm going to lift again, and I do this a couple of times until I get it to the point that I like the way it looks. Off camera, I also did add some Perfect Pearls in the Perfect Pearl color, just to give it a little bit of shine. And then I'm going to take the inside scalloped ovals. These are new for this release. And I'm going to go cut out a section of the cardstock that I just created. So I have a frame, and then I have an inside. You can use both pieces. Save the one you don't use for another project. I also cut the same thing out of a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to flip over the cardstock and tape that frame back in. Just using some regular Scotch tape and just getting all 4 sides here. And now I'm going to take some 1/8 inch score tape, and I'm just going to run it around the outer perimeter of the oval cutout. And this is what is going to hold my transparency. I'm going to lift the release paper from the score tape. Get all those removed, and then I can put down my transparency. And now we need to add a well, if you will. So what I like to do is I like to take the Scotch foam tape, pull off a pretty long length of it, and then I double it over onto itself. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit off camera here. Here we go. So I am doubling up the foam tape. I'm going to trim that off, and then sometimes I will cut it into thirds. It depends on what I'm doing. This time I'm just going to cut a third of it off, and I'm going to use that third to create the well around my oval. And if you remove the release paper from both sides, it will make the doubled up foam tape a little more bendable or flexible so that you can actually create an oval with the tape itself. I'm just going to continue around the oval here. And when I get to my starting point, after I get the cat hair off, I'm going to trim that up so that it butts right up against the starting point here. You don't want any gaps in here for any of your sequins to sneak out. Then I'm taking the remainder 2/3 of that, again, which is already doubled up, and I am going to completely cover that panel. And now I'm going to take some my powder tool here, and I am rubbing it along the inside portion of that tape so that my sequins do not stick to the tape. Again, I am using the pumpkin spice mix from Craft and Desert Divas, and I've poured that into my shaker well, and now I'm going to remove the release paper from the rest of the foam tape. And I have a card base here, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I am going to place that directly onto my shaker panel. Now at this point, you can add whatever you'd like. I decided to use the Thanks die, and I used some white cardstock as well as the remaining cardstock that I had colored with the Distress Oxides, and I am going to put the word thanks on the front of my shaker. So I cut out the shadow layer in the Distress Oxide paper. I'm just using a little Nouveau adhesive, and I'm going to stick that down right at the bottom of the shaker. And then for the white word thanks, again, I am going to use my Nouveau adhesive, and I am going to cover the back of the word thanks. I'm not using a whole lot of glue here. I'm just not even squeezing the bottle, just letting it run out with gravity, and then kind of smearing it around. All right, we can get this one last letter here, and then we can adhere this down, and we can call this card done. Be sure to check out the Facebook gallery this week, as well as the Craft and Desert Divas blog for a ton of shaker inspiration. Thanks for joining, and have a great day. Bye now.